If we're a salesperson or online marketer, anything like that, where you're trying to persuade your audience into consuming your product, we're aiming to modify a person's attitudes and beliefs. Persuasion knowledge is the understanding that someone is using these persuasion attempts against us. Persuasion is a psychological theory, but of course psychology is important in marketing, because marketing is essentially just the psychology of selling and, consumption. These theories generally have a lot of carryover effect into marketing. This recognition of the persuasion attempt is more of a marketing theory. It's been around sort of since the 80s and 90s. It's kind of our natural coping mechanism, so we don't just get easily convinced or persuaded to do something which probably isn't the right decision for us. And it's a learned behaviour. So obviously little kids aren't going to have that ingrained years and years of knowledge of how marketing works and how sales works, and these little warning signs or whatever aren't triggered for them that someone's trying to persuade them to do something. So everybody's going to have their own subjective levels of this persuasion knowledge. Academics, being who they are, always want to objectify behaviours, so over time have come up with this theory or model to explain how this process of persuasion works. Everybody has values, beliefs, and motives. These three then produce our own subjective attitude towards a certain topic. This attitude then dictates our behaviour, our thoughts and opinions on a certain topic. So as marketers, we want to modify a value, a belief, or a motive. It's very hard to modify motives and values because they're sort of ingrained in human beings over time. So the best way for us to persuade somebody is to modify this belief about a topic, because then that basic belief can then change a person's sort of more deeper characteristics and values. There's 4 important aspects or characteristics of persuasion. First, we need to be credible and we need to have a reputation in this given field. That's why we listen to a professor when we're doing our degree, because they've got that experience and credibility that they know what they're talking about, so we listen to what they have to say, so we're quite easily persuaded in that setting. But if we were to go to a park and there's a homeless guy rambling on, talking about marketing, he doesn't have that credibility or reputation that he knows what they're talking about, so you're just going to think this person's nuts, where they could be giving you the same information, but the persuasion level's much different between the two. What also matters is the way we sort of frame our conversation. You might have heard of the primacy and recency effects. So the order of our statements can matter depending on whether we start with our, the important argument we want to start with that, or we're going to finish that, depending on that primacy and recency. Some people remember the first thing you said, some people remember the last thing you said, but nobody really remembers what happened in the middle. Everything else is just providing a complete arguments. So you might go through the for and against. You might show that you can see the other argument, but your argument is stronger. So you're showing people that you've seen and understand the full picture. That can make you more persuasive. Also, announcing your intentions and being really clear with those is quite key. And hiding a certain message right until the end of your video or something like that can seem, quite deceitful. So you want to be really clear with your intention so people trust you more. If they trust you, you're more likely to be able to persuade them. Consumers have all this subjective knowledge ready to use in any encounter, really. We recognise marketing quite easy. As a business, if we can hide our intent of marketing, it can be more persuasive. So for example, a product placement on TV instead of an advertisement can trick some people into not seeing that it's essentially just advertising, just like everything else. On the flip side of that, if people find out we've been untruthful in our intention to, advertise or market to them, then they're going to trust us less in the long run. So it's that fine line of being truthful about your intent, but also not being really, really obvious. Persuasion can be a running conversation. Don't expect just to be able to convince someone to go to your website and sign up for something without thinking there's going to be a little bit of a middle ground, and they're going to want more information or whatever it is to have that conversation.